Banksy is one of the world's most notorious street artists, but no one really knows who he is. He's remained anonymous his entire career, which makes sense because what he does is illegal. Combine a blank space and a bit of darkness, and if you're lucky, one of his pieces will show up. Banksy became infamous because of his work. So much so that people started plucking them up and putting them in galleries and auctions. They transcended street art and became treasured collections. A few weeks ago, a Banksy piece appeared in a town not too far from me. So I decided to check it out. I left Cardiff Station and headed into the town known for its steel industry. Into
the Talbot Parkway.
Banksy's latest piece showed a kid seemingly playing in the snow, but a wider look revealed he was playing in the ash, falling from a burning skip. It seemed to be a commentary on the steelwork pollution prevalent in the area. I didn't know exactly where the new Banksy was, so I decided to just head in the direction of the factory. The problem was, you can see the factory from almost everywhere in Port Talbot. Its outline seemed to hang over the town as much as the smoke it was pumping out. Down every corner and cul-de-sac, you could see the metal frame and the constant fog. I was filming one alleyway and some kid jumped back and shouted something. I didn't catch what it was. I was too startled by the resemblance to the mural I was looking for, of the child in a hood, oblivious to the thick smog behind it. Eventually, I found the real thing. And there was a few people milling around and having a look. Even the birds seemed curious as they circled the site. The ground was marshy, turned to mulch by the recent footfall. And this is what everyone was looking at.
What do you think?
It's difficult to say, really. Can't really see it.
You might.
This was the first time I'd been to see something in person, and somehow had a worse view of it as a result. The artwork was covered by a plastic sheet and distanced by some metal fence. It was pretty ironic. Banksy had created something worth seeing, but so many people wanted to see it that precautions were put in place that made it largely unseeable. Apparently, the owner of the garage was pretty stressed about it all. Finding a Banksy on your wall is like winning a lottery you didn't enter. A lottery where you don't get the option to remain anonymous when neighbours and the media show up and start asking questions about the six-figure sum the work was sold for. That's all the newspapers were talking about, by the way. No talk of the single figure that had left it there, or the figure in the mural itself, just the monetary amount attached to it. It's worth pointing out that the owner had apparently turned down higher bids on the artwork to make sure it would stay in Port Talbot. The Banksy had to be sold eventually. There's no way it could have stayed on that wall indefinitely. It's far too valuable, which raises the Banksy Paradox. Banksy has become such a successful street artist, his work is no longer safe on the street. This Banksy in Bristol was shot at with a paintball gun and tagged with black spray paint. It's specifically targeted, which is why his stuff is so heavily guarded. 4 months after the artwork appeared in Port Talbot, and it's still in limbo. Progress has been slow moving the work to a gallery, so it's still on the shed, mostly covered from view. I wonder how Banksy feels about it all. I wonder if he enjoys the attention and protection his work receives, or if he wishes it would just be left alone, alongside all the other graffiti and murals, to grey and eventually fade in full view on the street.